All right, so I had to let the video upload. I put two up. So anyway, so this is the seasoning I use. It's Exit Publix black pepper, light salt by Morton's, salt substitute even. Now that's so I don't add too much to it. Minced onion, garlic powder, and mixed up salts, right? And that's just to add a little flair to it, right? Not too much salt, not too much different ingredients, pepper, right? And kind of mixing it up. I know. See, I don't like full onions, so I just put in minced onions, which is small pieces of onion, right? But now when it's part of the meal, it kind of blends in with the meal. Right. So I started it around a little bit before 11, right? So now it's 1:38, right? So this is the finished pork meal. So you see there, it's tender. It's got potatoes. It's got carrots. There's a little sauce for like if you want to use potatoes or you want to use rice, stuff like that. Now I got like 6 more minutes at 250. I had it on like 475 for about an hour and a half, right? Hour and 45 minutes, right? And then I lowered it and turned it off completely for about 45 minutes, right? And then after that, I put it down to 250, but I broke it up, right, into smaller pieces, right? Two, right? And so now the potatoes, the carrots, right, are well done. And right. As well. And I got like 5 more minutes to let it finish doing this, and then I'm gonna turn it off again and let it cool down in the oven. And that should take again another 30 minutes. So I should be able to eat it by about 2:15 to 3 o'clock, right? Right. Now again, so I went out yesterday again, right, to eat a little buffet again, right? So again, this time instead of 40 minutes, it took the full hour again, and I just ate the same thing. Why do you think? One day it's shorter and one day it's longer, right? And again, right, this time since I didn't eat again since yesterday, like I said, after 6 or 7, right? I had to go number 2, of course, right? So then I get to the bathroom, I have to wait around a few minutes for everybody to get associated, right? And I do number 2, and then I leave, right? But then I go back to my table, and the waitress done took everything away. Right. But I ate at least my first plate, which, like I said, is pretty much always the same thing. Chicken, fish, and ribs, right? With macaroni and cheese and green beans, right? If it's one plate, that shouldn't take you long to get it, which is about 5 minutes, right? And then to sit down and eat it should be about 12, right? That's 17 minutes, maybe, right? Okay. So that's the first meal. Then I went in the bathroom, right? I know. The second meal, again, is a little lighter, right? Like I said, right? So the second meal consists of rice, mashed potatoes, corn on the cob this time because they didn't have no green corn or regular corn, right? Again, the split peas and green beans, right? And some of that teriyaki chicken again, about 2 big pieces, right? And then again, the Salisbury steak. This time I got more like a quarter, 3/4 of the patty, right? And that was it too, right? So again, right, that should take less than 12 minutes, that right? Including going to the bathroom, right? So 17 and 5 and 17 again is another what? 34 minutes, right? So then finally I get the dessert plate. And again, that consists of some cookies and a brownie. I like the peanut butter. Mixed ice cream, the chocolate and the vanilla. And then pudding, the banana pudding and the chocolate pudding, right? So then again, that's the last thing I eat, but how long will that take? Again, less than a few minutes, right? Also got some of that sweet potato souffle, right? I like that a lot. So again, that's a little. I put that on the little plate, and of course the cookies were on the little plate, and then right, and so that's the final part of the meal, and that again should take 10 minutes, right? But there again, I'm still in there an extra 15. It's kind of unaccounted for. See, that wouldn't even be like 45 minutes, right? With all that, and then 15 minutes is kind of. I'm not sure what's going on, right? Now, when I look at the waitresses, though, right, I feel they're acting kind of weird. They won't look at me sometimes. They won't. And again, I sense a sexual connection sometimes. I don't know what's going on, right? And I'm not sure if I'm being blacked out again, right? Or what. But it ain't the food blacking me out, right? Because, see, that don't happen in other restaurants. Like, I went to Hardee's, right? And they got this $6 meal, and you get a cheeseburger or a ham sandwich, right? Or a chicken sandwich, right? And that's a spicy chicken sandwich, right? So all I want is more mayonnaise, right? Or something, right? Then you get the fries and the drink, and then a cookie or an apple turnover, right? And I also had a cinnamon roll, right? That was between 6 and 7, right? Now, when I went in there, I ate the food, waited for the food, right? Got me something to drink, right? Got cherry Coke, right? So when the burger was done, I ate the burger, ate the fries, right? Then the turnover, but I also got 2 cookies, so I saved those for later. I didn't eat one until this morning and one until yesterday night, right? Or the following morning than yesterday night, right? And again, right? Or actually, I ate one later on that night, maybe. And then, right, let it, I think it was kind of from the freezer or something, right? So later on, I ate the last cookies, right? Right. Now I'm gonna turn off the oven, right, and let it sit, right, in the juices, right. That way it gets everywhere, and right. So we want to do that at least 20 minutes, right? So right. So it's 1:45 now, right? So do I want white rice, right? Or mashed potatoes, right? Do I want some of the sour peas, right? Or something like that to go with it, right? Now this is another, but that's for the beef stew in there. That's for the roast beef, right? Tomorrow too, right? This killing and destruction of the scriptures went on for 2 years.
After which a victory column was erected over the ashes of a Bible with these words that indicated that the Bible was now extinct. But 20 years later,
Now I got mashed potatoes up here too, right? Those are Idaho, right? These are the garlic mashed potatoes, right? So this whole thing, since I'm a single male, could last me till say Wednesday, like I said, right? And then Thursday I can do something else, right? And then maybe next week, right? If I got it again, I might go out to the buffet again, right? But see, if you're trying to stop me from doing something I'm used to doing, that ain't gonna work. I know it ain't gonna work. Why ain't that working? Because you've been lied to yourself and you're trying to make your lie my truth, and you can't do that either. Right. Okay, well, in a bit I'm going to show you how the TV was turned again. Now, again, I went off, so I can't say when it happened, right? And I think the last channel I had it on was 3 again. But then it went to something Christmassy yesterday. It might be a different thing. It might not even be on there anymore. I don't know. They might have changed it already. But anyway.
Somehow the corpse never stays put. And so today we look back on history and all the.
Well, there's a third way to get rid of the body, and that's to burn it, Dr. David Jeremiah. You're not thinking about that. But who would burn his body? The disciples, if they stole it, if John told him he had female breasts. And it says to burn a witch. Right, Peter? And they thought he called up Moses and Elijah. I know that. That was their error. It was his male and female side, right? Isaiah covered that. It's who appeared to Abraham and Sarah too, Peter. Did he explain that to you too, or did you turn a deaf ear, right? You know what that means, right? I wasn't here. You wasn't here. No matter what he tried to explain, right? If someone won't hear something, right, because they're choosing a former teacher's idea over the truth, right? Who's wrong still? The former teacher, right? Exactly, right? Now, everybody's taught a form of Judaism living in Israel at the time of Jesus, right?
Of having a great public realm and a great outdoor space, along with all the indoor
space. Now, see, that's what I mean, right? The channel of Israel only available anymore. Right. Right. But, I know, right. It's not what's on dish, right? But like I told you, this is somewhere up in Timbuktu land, right? And in the on-demand part of the, TV itself, right? Right.
To connect the river back to the city.
The quarter-of-a-mile stretch of riverfront had been inaccessible.
Now, unless, like I said, I'm rolling over on it somehow, right? But it's up in this area, right? I don't know. Which ain't likely, right? Either. So, when it feels like I told you someone's messing with me, they mess with the washer there. And how do I know that, right? Because this time they had the audacity to unloose one of the already connected wires. Junction of the washer to the water outlet, right? Or the water main, right? The faucet, right? That runs the water to the washer itself, right? Now, like I said, why would a female do this or a male, right? It's to show they were here, right? If someone's showing they were here and unscrewed the washer, right? That's a manual thing. If you don't touch it, it stays the same. They all do. They all do. They don't magically loosen when it gets cold or hot. You have to manually unloosen it, right? And then it can leak, right? Well, that means someone did that on purpose, either when I was out or the night before, and then I woke up with a flooded, little area in the washroom, right? That I got that much water up already, right? And let the rest kind of dry. Well, again, right? That's another point, right? When I done survived the alleged car wreck or 3-story fall, I'm not your average bear to begin with, right? And that killed the boy at least, right? Now, they didn't have cars back in that day, but, right, say you wreck a chariot or something, right? It could cause the same kind of damage, though, right? Or similar, right? Now, we don't know what paralyzed the dude who was bedridden in the first place and lowered down by his friends either. Just he couldn't move according to someone examining him and telling him from henceforth he would be on that cot, right? Until he died, right? It's still at the word of a man, right? That he was even on the cot. We just don't know why, because the authors didn't think they had to explain why. They just told you the story that involved Jesus and his interaction with this person anyway, right? That's where the story begins. Now, the man's personal life we don't know nothing about, right? That's what John means. Everything Jesus did, everything involved with Jesus. We didn't write it all down, idiot. When you don't write something down, right? Or you do and people don't like what you're saying, like with the Gnostics, right? Dr. James Jeremiah, Richard, whoever, Jeffries, right? You're not reading the whole thing that the Gnostics taught also from the Bible, right? You're sealing it instead, as Isaiah warned you would do. And you're not looking upon it fully, but partially, and it offends you what it says, right? But because you're so easily offended, you're offended at everything now. Even the word can make you think you're going to hell for it when that's not the problem. If I say fornication and the word F-U-C-K, it's the same meaning, right? You just like the word fornication better? And the word F-U-C-K bothers you? Right. You see what I mean there? Right. And, right. And it's just the same word. And can you say, you're fornicating, right? Same thing as if you say you're in. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The difference is it's a modern word for it, and you're easily offended in the first place, so you're telling people they're going to hell for it. No, you are. No, you are. You're so easily offended by the word that you're not understanding its origin, right? And you're making it a cuss word when the Bible didn't say fornication was a curse word. And if it's based off of that word, right, or it's an acronym for it, say a shorter way to say it. Even the word S-H-I-T can be shortened to an acronym. If you add some human intestinal turds, right, or something, right? Another word for feces is turds, right? But again, right? Now, this is why I'm not able to get to my little thing right now, right? I got a QB in front of it, right? So my back's hurting. There's nothing but exercise moderately, and even then, it shouldn't be hurting like this, right? But it's from the fall, not before the fall, right? So it traces back to 94, and then the mental illness traces back to 93, right? And you can't change that, right? Now, even if I'm a believer at the wreck, and Jesus had to resurrect me, you gotta admit you tried to murder me, idiot. And that's what really blacked me out. That's still attempted murder, right? Now, if like with murder, you have the 7 years of what they call, Mm-hmm. What's the word I'm looking for? Mm-hmm. I know. Something that starts with an I. Mm-hmm. You think? But anyway, you got 7 years in which, if you're not charged in that 7 years, you might not be charged at all, huh? Mm-hmm. Immunity or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Right. But right. But the problem is, even if you just want to be a nice person, alright, what the Christians are telling you is, alright, Jesus died to cover your sins, but, right, he's the best option, right, from God over Satan, right? And Satan don't want you to do anything right and taught you to do good and evil, right? God and Jesus tried to just teach you all that was right? But that's why the Bible is a bunch of rules too, right? Trying to figure out right from wrong, right? But even then, some of the rules are just as crazy, right? If you break them, right? Like stoning someone for breaking the Sabbath day by picking up sticks. Well, if you do it on the same day, ain't that picking up stones instead of sticks, right? Ain't that where the old adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words could never harm me? But if you use a word to harm someone, you're killing by the law. Mm-hmm. The letter killeth, but the spirit giveth life, right? And Paul himself was beaten and stoned a few times, right? And sticks and stones could have broke his bones, but he rose again too, right? And like I told you, you're mixing words with man's knowledge, right? Even the Hammurabi Code, right, is in the Bible itself, right? Which is I for an eye and two for a tooth, right? Well, if that's in the Bible too, then the writer must have heard of that code and put it in the Bible too, right? That don't mean it's right or wrong. It means it's something they thought would be significant in the Torah. Mm-hmm. Because it's about laws and rules of sacrifice and this, that, and the other. And Moses should know, right? So the author, even if it's Zipporah or, Joshua, right, is telling you the story of Moses, right? As a biographer and someone who knows him personally. Now, Ramses is the city they built, which is for Ramses the first, right? Ramses is Ramses. Ramses the second is Ramses the second, right? So the first 40 years of Moses has to do with him. The last has to do with Ramses the second, right? Because he was 80 when he went back. Damn it. Do the math. I know. And then another 40 years trying to get Israel to freaking Canaan, which was going to become Israel, right? Now, the ancient world is filled with nations, conquering nations, and warring, and rumors of wars, and from the fall from the world. And Cain started the first city, right, in fact. And it's fortifications, right, or fortresses, right, that might become the problem in the future, right? Mm-hmm. If you become part of their fortification or fortress, right, they might make you have a mark and all this and all that and be part of their system, or they'll cut off your head but let you in or something, right? Or if you try to escape again, right, they would sooner kill you than you leave too. That's kind of messed up too, right? Now, here's what I'm trying to say. What's a half a day to God? 500 years, right? So already they're confused about the calendar enough to say it's around 57 since the fall, 5,700 years or so, right? Well, that's still shortening the day, right? By about 200 to 300 years, right? Well, 500 years is half a day to the Lord, right? But at the same time, there's a third day. Now, first, God has to revive you, re-show you the truth. Right? If I'm the chosen vessel to do that, I'm the chosen vessel to do that. It ain't up to you, right? It's unchosen the vessel. So once the vessel is chosen,